Hi, we're Harriet and Mauro. For the last 3 years, we've been renovating our abandoned stone cottage, growing our own food and accumulating animals here in the hills of eastern Spain. We stepped away from YouTube for a few weeks lately, but before that, we were actually pretty busy here on the farm. We finished quite a few projects and naturally started a bunch more. So in this video, we'll go back in time a few weeks and see what we've been up to and try and finish everything we started. First, there was a simple little job to do. We recently finished tiling the final rooms in our house, and in the process we removed a little stove which wasn't serving us anymore. This left a hole in the wall which needed to be filled. So I'm going to close up this hole in the wall today. I'm going to use a little bit of agricultural pipe just to wrap around the cable that needs to come through, and then we'll cement in all around it. We'll have a little hole in the wall, but that's fine. I've got a lot of extra mix because I must be out of practice at making cement because I made it way too wet, so I had to add a lot more dry ingredients. So I'm going to use it somewhere useful. I think what I'm going to do is start making like a little concrete base just below the cat's house because I want to move the cat food and dog food containers out of the kitchen because they take up a lot of space in there, and put them on a little concrete base just out here. We feed the dogs and the cats outside anyway, so it just makes more sense that their food is outside. And yeah, it's a rough project, doesn't have to be anything special, but it just gives me somewhere, I guess, to chuck some cement when I've got some extra. So just going to put some bits of wood in place to hold the shape and get started. There we go, now I've got this started at somewhere I can come and chuck rubble if I need to and use up any excess cement that I ever have mixed, so we'll just carry on with that as and when. Over the next few weeks I chucked material into the plinth whenever I had a bit extra, and soon it was done. That's done. I am feeling so much better, by the way. I've got this little thing on just to protect the scar from the dust and the sun at the moment, but the stitch is out, and yeah, I'm feeling so much better than I was in the last video that I shot after getting out of the hospital. I was feeling really tired, really exhausted then, and I thought that was down to having the incorrect dose of the thyroid medication. But it turns out I was taking my medication with breakfast. You actually have to take it on an empty stomach like an hour or so before breakfast, otherwise it just doesn't work at all. So that was that problem, and now I feel so much better. Still might not be the right dose, we'll have to see how it goes over time, but yeah, I can function now. In fact, I feel, if I didn't know I'd had this surgery and was taking this hormone, I wouldn't notice any difference. I feel really good. I know we've had a video in between the health update video, but I filmed and edited things in a weird order. But yeah, thank you all so much for your lovely comments and well wishes on the video before last. It really means a lot, so thank you. Anyway, this plinth is done. I'm just gonna let it dry, paint it. I was considering tiling it, but I think that's overkill for what it is. I have to eat my words here a little bit. I actually did end up tiling the plinth. Well, not exactly. I decided to try out a mosaic technique here. We have now totally finished tiling the house and we have a lot of leftover tiles, so I was curious to see what it would look like to use them up in a mosaic effect. I have a few projects in mind where I was thinking of using this kind of effect, and this little plinth was a great place to practice and see if it looked alright. If it looked really bad, I figured it didn't matter and I'd learn something for the future. I smashed up 4 or 5 different types of tiles and laid them out on the plinth to see if they would look any good. I wasn't convinced, but I figured it was worth going ahead anyway in case it looked better once it was all covered. I went as quickly as I could, and actually it was a lot faster than I'd expected. Once it was all covered, it did look a bit better, and once the grafting was on, I was actually pretty happy with the result, and I think this is definitely something I would be happy to do again in other projects. I could then finally move the cat and dog food containers out of the kitchen and onto the plinth, their new home, and keep the cleaning supplies under the sink as I had originally intended. I do want to put curtains in front of these shelves which don't have doors and in front of the area under the sink. It's something I'm working on, but for now at least everything is in the right place. So these narrow shelves in the living room are coming down, this one here and that one over there. I don't know if you remember my fear I had with these shelves. Not gonna lie, I'm a tiny bit nervous about someone sleeping underneath these shelves that I put up. Well, actually it turned out to be correct. These little brackets are not strong enough, and no one died or was hurt, it was fine, but these shelves do need to be wider, so I'm taking them down and I'm going to reuse this wood to make a double width depth shelf, and we'll do the same on the other side so that we can put more books up there. Should I be brave and start with 6? Yeah. Alright, take this baby away.
The safety is plugging it in. If you don't plug it in, it doesn't work. This is Sandy's book recommendation corner.
Go on, take this baby outside.
Now we make a Sandy's book club.
No, go, shoot. You need to drill. You need to do some drilling. Shut the door! These holes are just not happening. Look at the mess we've made of the wall. Just kept hitting stone, and maybe like 3 holes went in well out of, I don't know, 20 that I have to drill. It's just annoying. I don't know what to do. I can't carry on drilling holes randomly in the wall, hoping some of them fit. In the end, I realised that we were just not going to get another set of shelves on these walls, at least if we wanted them to line up in any way with a row above. So I decided to make the best of the situation and finally hang some of our pictures in this area. What does it look like here? The next time I had some plaster mixed, I came back and filled in the mess I'd made of the wall, and everything was looking as good as new.
In the square one with the white, was to the right.
Nice. Here?
Below the big one.
This one went here. This one here. Feeling like it should be like equal in certain places.
Yeah.
And then on this wall over here, the sofa bed situation is not really working for us. As a sofa, it's not very comfortable, and as a bed, it's also not very comfortable, and we don't use it that much. So I think we're going to completely rethink the furniture and stuff that we've got going on in this area. In a tiny house, we need to make the most of every corner and piece of wall and space that we've got. So the sofa will be going. We'll probably put some sort of bookcase here, maybe a extra little chair in front of it to be near the fire. And Mauro has a record player and records that he would like to have out, so if we can find the right piece of furniture for that, that's probably what we'll do here. As you may know, we are in the process of rebuilding our main water deposit into a natural swimming pool. Since this year is exceptionally dry, we felt it was a good year to try and totally empty the deposit so we could do this work. I was also trying to rescue all the fish before removing the final few inches of water. Basically just a pit of snakes at this point. The fish were really easy to catch this time. You can tell they were suffering with the heat of the water. They didn't put up much resistance at all. I've got most of them. There's just one more quite big one which I would like to try and get. It's just hard to get them when you churn up all the sediment, so I've got to let it settle for a minute and then there he is. Meanwhile, this snake is still trying to swallow his lunch. I did see like a lobster or something in there. I would like to get the lobster, he was nice. I think that is all the fish I can get out because the rest are like really tiny, so it'll have to be like survival of the fittest for them, I guess. If we end up with like a little bit of water left in one corner, I'll go in again and see if I can scoop any more baby fish out, but that is all I can do for today. I did start off putting my rubble neatly in a pile and I was like, what am I doing? And then I realized it does actually make sense to organize my rubble a little bit because we're going to be coming in here with building materials to build like the blocking wall between the area where we're burying all the rubble to raise the height and the area where we're going to have the new smaller swimming pool. So we don't want a load of rubble to trip over. So I have got all my rubble organised in a nice little pile. We did set up this lovely bathtub as the temporary home for the fish with plants and an aerator and everything, but unfortunately they all died anyway, so that was a shame and a big waste of time. Not wanting to let good nutrients go to waste, I had heard that fish can be planted beneath a tree to help it grow, and we had a space on our irrigation line where one of last year's trees didn't make it. Hopefully this little fig will do well here, or at least better than its predecessor did. As for the bathtub, there was no use keeping it full of water with no fish in there to eat the mosquito larvae, so I emptied it out and donated the aquatic plants to some friends, and I turned it into another raised bed. I planted some marigold, mint and a little berry bush which I rescued from our main garden, which isn't getting that much attention at the moment. Of course, another major ongoing project is the general tidying up of our land, particularly the area around the house. It is so easy when you're living in a renovation project for your most frequented spaces to become dumping grounds or work sites of projects in progress. You have to be so disciplined to keep all of your materials, junk and tools under control. And it doesn't help that we don't have much outdoor storage at the moment. So yeah, everywhere has become a bit of a mess and has been for a long time. Our motto is, we leave with rubbish and we come back with rocks. In the past, we've kept loads of old things just in case, but those days are over. We have been being ruthless and anything we're not absolutely sure what we're going to use has got to go. Meanwhile, the tidy up continued. I think for about 2 weeks I took a carload of rubbish out with me every single time I went out. And of course that meant I was accumulating lots of rocks, but don't worry, of course I have a plan for them, so you will see that later.
What's all this noise? What are you doing?
Well, cleaning up the whatever room this is, the storeroom. So I started today with the aim of completely clearing up the outside area in front of the house, but as soon as I started that, I needed somewhere to put all the stuff, which should be inside. And I don't think we actually have a picture of what this room looked like before, but let's just say you could not get this far into it. You couldn't see the floor. You
couldn't find what you were looking for.
You couldn't find anything. So that job turned into this job, and here I am clearing up this little storeroom.
It looks awesome. My OCD is very happy at the moment. Look at that. Look at that shelf. It looks like a shelf in Leroy Merlin.
There's a system in progress, but I'm left now with just everything that's left is just miscellaneous. So now I'm a bit stuck. I think I need an ice cream to spur me on for the rest of this job this afternoon. We'll be back to this later. But it's looking so much better, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks great. Look at this healthy lunch of beer and ice cream.
You don't need to do a commentary. I just said take a video. So I've just been chucking any rubble and stuff that we come across into our new rubble pile in the deposit, which is very satisfying. What is going on here? So in the end I didn't carry on with the storeroom because I didn't want to crash around in there while Santi was sleeping. However, I have had a really good tidy up of this outside patio area in front of the house, which was my original plan. Most things that were here have found a home now or have just been thrown away. I've been feeling pretty ruthless, and I've had a really good sweep up because I really just wanted to see the state of the floor, which I couldn't while there was so much stuff just lying around on it. The concrete is in pretty bad condition, which we knew. And when there was water running through the channel that goes along here, there isn't at the moment, but when there was, the presence of that water was just adding to the deterioration of the concrete out here. Especially around the edge of the canal, you can really see it's really broken up. There were a lot of weeds and grasses and stuff growing through it and pushing through it and just breaking it up. I want to redo the patio out here in the easiest but also most long-lasting way possible. Clearly we're going to have to break up a lot of the cement around here. I don't want to break up the whole area because it's a massive area, and although we have our nice new area where we can chuck rubble, it's going to be a lot to put in there. So I'm thinking of just breaking up the worst offending parts and relaying that. The channel will have to go. We will have to redo the channel definitely because it's in really bad condition. But the further away from the channel you get, the better condition the concrete is in. So I'm really not sure what we're going to have to do there or how we can manage that, but I did just want to get a good look at it so that we know what we're dealing with. I think it looks a lot better now. We can kind of see what's going on, so that's a start. Hopefully we can try and keep it clean and clear out here because it's a lot nicer coming out of the house into a clean area. All we've got left is a couple of piles of leftover tiles from various projects, which I just don't know where to put or what to do with. Everything else is quite nicely organised, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy with that. So I wanted to show you a couple of other things that we've done lately, which I didn't film, but you can see the end result. First of all, we have a new raised bed down here. This is raised bed number 4, I think. We're doing one a month, so this is June's raised bed, which was finished early in May by some volunteers who came and stayed with us for a few days, so that was really nice. We've got some cucumbers, some basil, some aubergines, and we've got one little lettuce planted here. Oh, you found a nice shady spot. And one chilli plant. And just behind this raised bed, another project which we did with our volunteers, which is, if you can see, the Una-proof fence going along between this bottom terrace of the garden and the top level. Thank you for all your suggestions on how we could build this fence. We ended up doing it with posts and like a wire mesh fencing material. I think it actually turned out looking really nice. It is doing the job as well. It's keeping Una out of her shortcut area and she's not trampling the raised beds, so that's good. I also finished and planted up the rest of this raised bed area here in front of the house. I don't think you'd seen that before, but we've got some strawberries and some berries in this one bed here, and a little daisy on the corner. The strawberries are starting to give some fruit, which is really nice. In this back section here, which is bordered by this little wood border, we've got some more squashes, we've got one more strawberry plant, some lavender, various different types of lavender. I'm a big fan of lavender. And then we've got this really lovely passion fruit, the kind that actually produce fruit, not just pretty flowers, which I planted to grow up this dead tree, and it has really shot up in the week or so it's been planted. Probably need to tie it on a little bit, but all of this is new growth, so looks like it's doing what I intended, so that's really nice. You might notice this dead tree has had a little bit of a haircut as well. We took off a lot of the messier, scragglier dead branches and tidied it up a little bit. There were also a few more dead trees around the garden which we cut down and chopped up, so we had quite a big job processing and moving a load of chopped up wood from various areas where we'd cut down these trees. It took me quite a while to get through all of the wood, but we got loads of logs and kindling for next year from these dead trees, so that was really good. And then this dead tree on the corner here near where we're rebuilding the pizza oven area, as you can see, it is looking a lot tidier and neater than it was before. We've just left the most impressive, dramatic trunk and branch, so the process of stripping the bark off it continues, and once it is all stripped down from bark, I might sand it, polish it, make it look nice somehow, and then I want to mount like a little solar light on the top so that it's like a little lighthouse on the corner of our land. I think that would look quite nice. Find ourselves starting. This might be a little ambitious of me to try and take Tofu and Santi, but we're going to try and go on a nice little walk. Hopefully somewhere a bit cool and shaded, because it's a bit too hot around here now to go out on our normal morning walks. The brush is there. All I'm asking now, don't give up on love. Don't give up. Don't give up on love. I know that you're tired, my love, but please don't go. There's valleys and mountain tops on this rocky road. All I'm asking now, don't give up on love. Don't give up. Don't give up on love. In sickness or health, for rich or for poor, I meant every word that I told you before. All I'm asking. Well, that was a really nice little walk. Definitely nice to be walking in the woods at this time of day. It's quite nice and cool here. And I think I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.